Tell Muhammad he don't have to sign in. Tell Muhammad he don't have to sign out there. He's already up here.
I ain't seen him in years. Milton. I haven't seen him in a while.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Start the show.
So she gonna be
Mental health.
Oh, she just for that.
She gonna show her connection with age. Can you read? That's sure good.
Don't want to be late.
You know.
5 minutes.
You get that done. Is he working? It's not his work. He gives it.
That man in that wheelchair, I think he do some kind of program.
He does. Mentoring. That's Mr. What is his name?
I can't remember. It's been a while since I seen or heard of him.
They use my van to go on the trips.
I don't want to hear that either.
I did. You didn't call me back.
You told me it was a substantial fee.
Everybody got a substantial fee. That's cheaper than you can find it. Not registered in there. So you can only make the merch call. I don't know what that is. First time I've seen that.
See you call Jones. I'm just gonna find it.
I'm writing you some notes. I'm writing some notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit there. I got it tied right.
It's tied.
Ain't tied to tie it. About 5 years.
Oh, yeah. 5 years. 5 years. That's a long way down here. 5 years.
See, you and
You know
Brother Jones. Yeah, y'all come talk.
Do you have one?
How many you paid dog piece on that?
His. Don't look like one on his.
Jones. Jones.
Show 20 minutes.
No answer.
Yeah. Yep.
You ask him next.
Do it. Send us that. Do that thing. He could send us on text.
Oh, oh.
I told Bobby. You see that?
All comments.
I'm willing to comply with your request provided by the mayor and or Mayor Pro Tem don't carry no weight. He acts as a commissioner only when he sets on the board
She probably put that up right there.
unless he is not present.
Today.
Right. I agree, but that just say
That's what he said. We look at that. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Know your place.
that's next week. That's what they prepping.
Oh.
Good afternoon, the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Third meeting?
Is now called to order on this Sunday, October the 30th, 2022 at 5 o'clock p.m. We ask Brother Melvin Muhammad to lead us in invocation and affirmation. Did I get?
I really don't respect that. But let us, we don't have to bow. We just want to thank God for allowing us to be in the midst of this meeting today. We ask Him that we be on one accord, even though we agree to disagree. We ask God to move our spirit, our mind, and our soul to see the bigger picture that we come here for today. That we come to be purpose and solution driven. That we will be respectful of one another. We ask these things, God, in your holy and righteous name. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Appreciate you.
Amen.
Very few ground rules. Just be respectful of one another. And we're going to start on time at 5, and we're going to end on time at 7. If you do not have an opportunity to speak, we have flyers, chart paper in the lobby. Put your comments down there. But let me make a suggestion that each municipality start a subgroup to consist of at least 9 individuals, to include 2 parents
So,
in the school system, 2 students, 1 clergy, 1 elected official, 1 person from mental health agency, 1 from law enforcement, and an educator. That they would meet once per month to discuss strategies of how we can get our young black men to collaborate together instead of killing each other. Then come back to the big meeting and discuss what you come up with. We have an opportunity now to write a crime prevention grant collectively as Edgecombe County to assist us along the way. And we're so thankful that our mayor and Mayor Pro Tem from the town of Pine Tops has joined us this evening. I don't think we have any other elected officials in the house, but we thank each one of you for coming as well. All the mayors from Edgecombe County have been invited. I just got a text from Kenita. They can't come tonight. We're expecting Tarborough's mayor to show up shortly. I have not heard from the other individuals that said they were going to be here. But we'll continue to reach out because this is not a Princeville issue. This is not a Tarboro issue. This is not only an Edgecombe issue, but this is a worldwide issue.
Yes, sir.
People can't sit down and collaborate together. So we're going to discuss some strategies that we can work on together to make sure that we offer our citizens every opportunity to come together as one. You see the announcement before you. I'm not going to go through those in consideration of time. We're going to start with Sergeant Cofield, or is it now Lieutenant Cofield?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Cofield. Thank you so much.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Lieutenant Joe Cofield, School Resource Officer Supervisor for Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. Um, my job entail is to make sure that all schools have SROs in them working on a daily basis, um, oversee security and things like that for the schools. So that's what I do since I've been appointed to this position. And it's been a rewarding one, but yet a frustrating one because, as you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in our community as far as the violence, and it's carrying over into our schools. So it's a tough task, but we are looking for community support in this task. It's not an easy one. It's a very difficult one. I guess we're here tonight to fill in for the sheriff. I guess we're here to talk about gangs, and I guess maybe some issues that you may or may not have for what's going on in the last couple of weeks with a lot of the shootings and homicides and things of that nature. Um, you have a situation where we got young men running wild, and what they're doing is pretty much instilling fear and intimidation in our communities as well as our schools. Not all of them, but you just have a select few, and that's what they're doing. That's their main goal because for some reason they don't think that their life matters.
Mhm.
And I hate to say it because when I talk to young men, they'll tell you that it's not guaranteed to them because they have nothing to look forward to. And I tell them it's not true. I don't know if it's failure from home, but law enforcement, the face that we have is, they don't trust us because they think we're out to get, which is not true. Not Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office anyway. I mean, everybody has their bad apples, but it is what it is. And we try to work with what we have. But for the most part, that's their thing. And when you sit there, you try to talk to these young men, and you understand some come from broken homes. Um, some come from where parents are just working and they're allowed to run in the streets with their friends. So what do? It's one of the things that you try to put stuff in place for them, and the first thing they'll tell you is that we're bored. We do a lot of stuff because we're bored. And and I tell them you can't be bored because there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of programs out here for you if you just take advantage of it. It's just that influence is so strong from the streets to the point that a lot of parents can't control it. And I know this from firsthand because we get those calls, or I get those calls where we got unruly juveniles and we got to go and we sit there and we talk with them. The parents are frustrated with them because the streets have more love for them than their parents. For some strange reason, they feel so they don't have to listen to their parents. And it's just like sometimes it feels like you're fighting a lost cause, but when you reach just that one, it makes a difference. And what is happening in our community is that we have a few that are influenced others to do. Um, Without giving anything away, um, we arrested 4 last week from the ages of 14 to 25. And these guys are now toting around automatic weapons. Because what are they doing now? They're going online and they're figuring out how to switch these guns from semi-automatic to automatic with simply a selector switch, which is illegal. So we're trying to get these guns off the street to the best of our ability, but it seems like it's a never-ending task because once we take guns off the streets, it seems like more get right back on the streets. And this is the thing that what's the answer to? Where are they getting these guns from? They're getting them from probably breaking in houses, breaking in cars, and taking the guns.
Age rate
And
was
I hate to say it,
14 to something.
and they're being sold on the black market. You look at the number of guns that we've confiscated in the last couple of weeks. Um, 2 assault rifles, fully armed, 30-round clips, 50-round clips. And, they're taking these guns and don't care who they're shooting at. They're shooting at certain individuals, but they're not taking into consideration the final rest of the place of that round. And we have a lot of innocent people getting shot by these rounds, even killed. It's just that if we can reach the parents somehow and explain to them, educate them on the games, because the thing of it is, they have a hierarchy, they have a command that they go by, that they got to adhere to, and they telling these young men and women to go out and commit these heinous crimes, shootings, drivings, because sometimes you have the females driving these young men around, and that's what they do. They're out recruiting every day. Every day they're out recruiting these young people to get out here and do these things. It's like, just when you think that you have a hand on it, then you turn around, it's like something else is occurring. And when we try to talk to parents, they be in denial. My child is not part of the gang. I get it. Nobody wants to label their child as being part of the gang that's out here creating this chaos in our communities, in our schools. So what do? Until it's too late. When they got to sit there, we got to give them that notice. That's the difficult part about what is happening now is that we have to deliver those notices to the parents for something that simply that they could have taken the time out to get a handle on. Let's be honest. When we grew up, our parents knew where we were every second, every hour of the day, who we were with, and where we were going the whole 9 years. That's not the case anymore. That's not the case. I wish I knew an answer or solution other than community need to come together and just put a stop to it. Just say enough is enough. Law enforcement community, we all need to band together. It's not, like the mayor said, it's everybody's issue because it's affecting the community all around this country. Not just here in Princeville, it's affecting it everywhere. Because we are sitting here having to investigate shootings of young people, and it's amazing when you sit here, you're talking about 12 and 14-year-olds getting shot, 12 and 14-year-olds carrying guns to school. How did they get them? Where are they getting them from? That's what we would like to know. And I know you as citizens, you have a lot of questions. You're like, what is going on? We don't know. And I know that from my almost 30 years of being in law enforcement, this is that time of year where activity is more prevalent now in that community because it's like everybody is trying to make a name for themselves within these organizations. And true to form, we have feuds now that are starting back with what we call the OG or old gangsters, which they are now renewing old feuds, and now they are having issues with one another, along with the younger crowd. I just went to a one-day gang conference in Salemburg probably maybe about 3 weeks ago, and the one thing that the officer told us, and which I kind of knew, is that the hybrid gangs are your most dangerous gangs that there are because these are a group of individuals from the ages of 12 to 20 who are branching off from the traditional gang setting and they're trying to start their own set, which is what they're doing now. They are out here doing most of your shootings, most of your robbery, breaking the housing, because their thing is they're looking for guns. It's called these are hybrid gangs. They're branching off. And that's what we're seeing now more than ever, especially within our schools. Last couple of days you've been looking at the news, you see fights breaking out. You know, that's what they're doing. Everybody is jockeying now for territory, and that's what they're doing. These hybrid gangs are jockeying for territory because now they're trying to establish themselves. That's where we are now, and it's trickling down to our middle schools and down to elementary schools. Believe it or not, because like I said, if you ever have an opportunity to go into your schools in Edgecombe County, just stop by and visit. It's not, and you will see some of the things that I'm talking about. And it's like, what is going on? The educators are having so much problems to the point where they can't teach because they got to do discipline. They're disciplining the kids at an alarming rate versus trying to educate them. And this boggles the mind to actually see that they're there to educate our children, and they can't do it because they got to instill discipline. And that's where we are now. What's the solution? My thing is, we just got to band together as a community, come together and say enough is enough. And I think if we ever decide to do that, we have a chance to turn this thing around. We got to put our differences aside, regardless of who feel about what, and just come together and work. And if we do that, maybe we'll strike some type of attention and get these young men and women back on the right track. But I understand everything starts at home. We're on the outside, but everything starts at home. But when home life is difficult, as it is, most of these young men and women are, then it's time for adults on the outside, such as myself, such as you, such as everybody here, to step their game up and make a difference in everybody's lives. And, we need more mentoring programs. I'll tell you that. That's what we need. We need these guys that have been through the system, that are willing to come back and educate these young men and women about what it's like to be caught up in this system. Because once you've been caught up in this system, it's so hard to get out of it. I'm just firm believer in that. I mean, sometimes I step from behind my badge all the time because I mentor young men. But the thing of it is, I sometimes get frustrated because am I fighting a losing battle? And sometimes I don't because I reach that one that changed. Then it makes me push a little bit harder. So in last closing, let's come together and make this thing. Let's not be about it. Let's be about it. Let's not talk about it. Let's make it happen. Let's put it into action. Thank you. Any questions for me? Anybody?
You mentioned something about mentors, and I have Mr. Dunn here. You have anything to add to that, Mr. Dunn? You got a very successful boys mentoring program.
We do. I don't know if I'd call it successful in the sense that we don't honestly get all the support that we could actually use. But there's some things that what you said struck my attention because I was thinking about this meeting before I got here. You kept referring to parenting and things going on at home. And this morning I wrote this statement about parenting and thought about it as coming to this meeting. And see, we need to stop parenting for parents. We need to stop doing that for them. And we need to start teaching parents how to parent. So we need to flip the switch on what we're doing to make a difference. And this is a long-term process. That's what's really wrong. When we get in these situations, we think for some reason or another, we can come to a meeting like this and we can solve the problem and we can go home and be happy. It's not true. Truth of the matter is, it's going to take years and years of grinding and things of that nature to change, to reverse the situation that's happening. It's just like a guy like me who got too much weight. I'm in the gym and I got to stay in the gym and I'm going to be in the gym because it's going to take time to lose the weight. The same is true of what's going on with these young men in this community. We have got to get to the place that we make parents stand up for their responsibility. It doesn't make a difference about it being a 15-year-old that has a baby or it does a 40-year-old. We got to let that parent take care of it because that's the person that this kid is going to respect the most. So we got to train that parent to do the right thing. It's nice for them to come to the mentoring program. I thought so. I've been doing it for 13 years. But the truth of the matter is, I work better with the kids whose parent is also involved, who respects the fact that there's a program. And that's what we need to get to. We need to get parents to get involved and take care of their responsibility. We don't have a program or something, a lot of programs that feel that particular thing, but that's where we need to be putting the gas in the tank. We need to get parents doing what they need to be doing, and we can do it. We can do it with the churches in this community. We can do it with the people who are already established mentoring programs and things of that nature. We can do that. I mean, with my program, there's not a church that stands up and that asks that comes to the program. I'd like to see at least one program, one person from one church, along with one kid from that church to come to the program. As a mentor, to be there, to be a real tutor for that kid. I like to see churches be able to tell people, but then because these people that have these babies, their parents, there's somebody that's connected to the church. These churches need to say to them, look, you are going to have to take care of this responsibility. If these people who have the babies allow the grandma to take care of them, they're going to continue to drop them off at grandma's house until grandma says my house is too crowded. It's funny, but it's the truth. That's what goes on. But if you make them be responsible, and I'm saying, tell them, look, this is your baby, you take care of it. Yes, you're going to give them some help. But you are also not going to neglect the fact that the responsibility is theirs and help grow them and nurture them in that responsibility. I could go on and on, but I'm going to just stop.
Yep.
Okay.
We have about 4 minutes left in this section. Any other questions or comments?
I do.
Go ahead.
I do have a question. You were mentioning mentoring programs.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know of any fundings that are available for mentoring program that we might be able to get material to pass on to someone who may be interested in starting one?
There's, I wish he was here tonight. Young man, Saeed Murphy. He has a mentoring program, and he goes and get these grants, and he can, put them out there because he has them himself with the young men that he mentors during the summertime. Athletes of Life, which I'm on the board, and we don't cater just to athletes. We cater to anybody that wants to be a part of the program. It's involved conditioning, educational things, visiting college campuses, things of that nature. So, yeah, um, he would be the one you probably want to talk to because he does a lot of that. Um, I forgot to mention that and speak with the gentleman back there. The sheriff office has a program, and I don't know if anybody's familiar. It's called the Will to Live. And, sir, I understand your frustration with parents. It's a program that we designed not so much of a scare straight program because you can't scare anybody straight. Let's be honest. It's so much about that. It's about taking young men and women with behavioral problems in school outside of the home. We take them, spend a day with us, and there's a section that's a 4-hour block from 7:30 to about 12:30 where the parent has to come. That's the biggest issue that we're facing because we tell you, you cannot come and drop the child off. You as a parent have to come for the first 4 hours, which Edgecombe County Public Schools, they does the parenting course. They bring in different speakers, have different programs that they can probably go to and research when they're having problems as far as with the kids from the mental aspect, even down to the behavioral problem. But the problem that we're having is parents do not want to take that one day off. And we have it the last Friday every month. And it's from ages 10 to 16, which we make modifications for. Um, and the thing about it, we do a follow-up check with it when they come through our program for that one day. And it's very interesting. I think that the last part of the day, once we take them through everything else, and we sit down, we have that one-on-one with them, they write letters to their parents. And some of the things that these young men and women are feeling that you go through touches you. When they actually sit up there at the end of the program and they read the letter that they wrote from their heart, some of it is speaking the truth. Some of it embarrass the family because they're speaking from the heart about some of the things that they're feeling. Some of the things that they opened up to our deputies about, which James Silver is one of the officers, but these are hand-picked officers that we pick to deal with these kids. We just don't want anybody coming in with these kids, dealing with them. But it's one of those things that at the end of that day, and these kids write that letter, it's very emotional. And like I said, we do follow ups with them. And believe it or not, we had 60 applicants. Out of the 60, I think maybe 35 to 40 were out of town because we started opening up to everybody. We opened up to the citizens first, but wasn't in the response that we were getting. So we decided to open up to anybody that want to come and bring the child. So it's frustrating. I understand what you're saying when it comes to parents not doing the thing because we try to get them to come to this 1 day program because they don't want to take time off. But with God's will, we're going to keep on trying. The option is not to give up.
Okay, thank you so much. Time is up. If you have any additional questions, comments, we'll wait around to after the next presentation. Dr. Shaw is a licensed clinical mental health therapist, supervisor, and also a certified life coach. Dr. Shaw.
Okay, good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
As Mayor has said, I am a mental health therapist. I want to, first of all, just start talking about what I bring to this context and this discussion that we're having. I was raised on the Edgecombe County side in Rocky Mount, lifelong resident there. Also, I retired after 33 years of service as a public school teacher. And my last 10 years were right here in Edgecombe County school system. More importantly, I came out of the traditional school and chose to work in the alternative school here in Edgecombe County. And the reason I did that was because I have a passion for working with troubled youth. And for some of you, you may remember the alternative school was at the old Robertson elementary school. It was called CEA. That's where I worked some years ago and retired out of that setting. While working at Robertson, I was also a mental health therapist. I did that from a part-time standpoint. After retiring, I continued to work in the mental health field and realized that a lot of the behavioral issues that we're seeing with young people, it's already been mentioned with by Lieutenant and some of you concerning the parenting issues. But one of the main things that's been discovered with troubled youth, not all, is that there are some mental health issues that could be fueling some of the behaviors that you see. So it's out of these experiences, I just wanted to share with you a few observations, a few things that I've learned, and a few things that are truly fact that we need to take in consideration as we engage in this conversation. First of all, when you start thinking about mental health or mental illness, more importantly, the thing I want us to remember is that the human body is made up of three components: the body, the soul, and the spirit. Okay? The soulish realm is that realm wherein we have our mind, our emotions, and our will. So with mental health, what has happened is, or mental illnesses, excuse me, what has happened is that if we don't take care of all three components, then things get out of whack. When we don't take care of that soulish realm, that could be, not necessarily that it is, but that could be the beginning of mental illness. Now, sometimes mental illnesses occur as a result of environmental situations, or it could be biological. In other words, there could be chemical imbalances that could also be the result of mental health. When it comes to imbalances and us not taking care of ourselves properly, children have to be taught how to take care of themselves. Okay, even from a young, early age, they have to be taught. Just like we learn how to take care of the physical body, we have to teach children how to take care of their mental and their emotional states. If not, even as a child, things can get out of whack. Okay, children are like sponges, and they will absorb whatever they're told. But more importantly, that saying that we hear, action speaks louder than words. They really take on more of what they see and imitate what they see more so than what we say to them. So we have to be very careful of the examples before them. For some parents, and I'm not going to reiterate a whole lot of things because a lot of the points that have already been said by the lieutenant and others concerning parenting, I had it down here. So I won't reiterate those so you know that's a big issue. All right? But with parenting, sometimes in their attempt to give children what they did not have growing up, they forget to give children the good things that they did have when they grew up. And what are some of these good things? Teaching children how to respect themselves and other people, how to be patient, not to be selfish, how to be humble, how to forgive, how to use good decision making skills and problem solving skills. I am working with children in the school system as well with mental health. They have no clue. They have no critical thinking skills. Those things have to be taught. Okay, so that is could be a parenting issue. Another thing, we have to teach children how to be good leaders and not just followers, because that's a problem that we see also. Okay, now these are a few statistics. There is a relationship between violence and mental health disorders, substance abuse, negative childhood experiences, and environmental factors. If a person has a severe mental illness, they may have other risk factors for violent behavior. So it may not necessarily be just because they have a mental illness that's causing the violence, okay? But it could be. Individuals who have a mental illness that we call a psychosis. These are the people who may have some kind of chemical imbalance, and they may talk to themselves. They're hearing voices. That is real. That's a psychotic kind of state. That's real. But everybody out here committing violent crimes, not hearing voices. Okay, they ain't seeing things. Okay, but there's a population that does fall into that category. Now, a study was done out of 34,653 people. Watch this. Only about 2.9% of the people with a serious mental illness committed a violent crime out of that number. Now, there have been a lot of research. However, 10% of that population of people with both serious mental illness and, watch this, a substance abuse disorder committed crime. So you see, it's not just the mental health disorder, but coupled with other things, and especially substance abuse, that increases the risk of some type of violence. Okay, and when people use substance abuse, because I work with substance abuse clients also, they're self-medicating a bigger problem. That's a way of escape. Okay, so we got an issue that's going on here. Now, here's some other factors. Anger management is important and needed. Okay, because people don't know how to control anger, and we see that not just with children but with adults too. But for a child, believe it or not, divorce, separation, financial problems, victimization of some type of other violence that may have been committed towards them. And especially if drugs are involved. When someone uses drugs, it encourages, they get a level of bravery and courage to do things that they would not normally do. Bullying is a problem. Sometimes violence is committed simply because a bully gets tired, a person who's been bullied gets tired of being bullied. So they become the bully so that they can regain power. They just get mad, they get tired, they get fed up, okay? Social media, if you've noticed, the social media, these TikTok challenges, they're encouraging violence. What does that go back to? Parents need to monitor
Right.
what these children are watching. Okay, gang activity, as it's been stated. Now, this is another factor towards mental illness, and I believe in it. I believe it's true, but I don't. I am not a proponent that it is the primary of the sole cause of violence. The incomplete brain formation. The brain, the prefrontal cortex, does not fully develop until age 25. That's the front part of the brain where the decision making, the impulsivity center, all of that's in the front part of the brain. Well, it doesn't fully develop until age 25. In some court cases, they have even argued for juveniles where their brains weren't fully developed. Well, I don't buy that in all situations. It's a truth. It is a truth. But that is not the main reason why some of these violent acts are occurring. Okay? Now, one thing that is very, very important, intergenerational trauma.
Mm.
Now, when you think of that word generational, look at the first letters of it. Gene, gene. Intergenerational trauma is called a second form or second form of trauma. It's trauma that's passed down. But notice this, intergenerational is passed down in the genes. So if you got a parent who has anger issues,
Mm.
it can be transmitted in the genes.
Mm.
Mm.
If you have a parent that has tendencies toward violence, it can be passed down in the genes. I'm working with adults right now that are suffering from intergenerational trauma. Okay, and it can play itself out in different ways. When you have, if you notice patterns of families and they have certain pattern behavioral issues that seems like to be a part of that family, it could possibly be intergenerational. Okay, so that is another thing that we have to take into consideration. So some possible treatment options. We talked about parenting, so I won't go there. Childhood emotional neglect is real. Childhood emotional neglect is we giving these children all these sneakers, all these iPads, and all this other stuff, but we're not providing the emotional support that they need. They go out and they find it some other ways. Now, they may go out and do crazy things, or they may become withdrawn, develop low self-esteem. A whole lot of things can develop from that. Okay. We talked about mentoring. Family therapy in some instances is needed. Notice I didn't just say individual therapy for the child. Family therapy. Because in my job, I find that parents want you to wave a magic wand and fix that child and don't want to take credit for what they could possibly have contributed to that child's behavior. Some cases, medication is needed. I am not a proponent for just advocating medicine across the board for any and everything, but some of these mental illnesses, they need medicine. If it is a psychotic kind of situation, no question about it, they need their medication. Okay? Conflict resolution training is also something that's needed. Now, last thing, some local resources. You have mental health agencies throughout the community, Edgecombe, Nash, and some other surrounding communities. But if you don't know a particular agency, the regional governing mental health governing agency is East Point. You can call the Rocky Mount office and they can tell you all of the mental health agencies within our regions. Now, another thing that a lot of parents don't want to do because they don't want that baby to be taken away, some of these kids need to be IDC'd, involuntarily committed. Go to the magistrate's office. If they become a danger to themselves and other people, IDC is needed where they can become hospitalized. Now, separation. Tar Heel Challenge is another organization that I know young people that have gone to, kind of like a military style organization, but I have seen children come back well behaved, learn self discipline, get the high school diploma, and Tar Heel Challenge works with 16 to 18-year-olds who are dropouts. Now, last thing, and talking with parents, when those children get so out of hand and they cannot handle them, and recommendations, whether it's from the probation officer or whomever, they need to be sent away. You hear parents say, I just don't want to send my baby away. But your baby is terrorizing you and the neighborhood. So my final question is, would you prefer to send your baby away to possibly learn self-discipline, respect, a trade, a high school diploma, and then come back to you, focus with a productive life plan, or have them taken away, put in jail for life by law enforcement or by worse, Henry Willoughby? You think about it.
Got 5 minutes. Question, answers, comments. 5 minutes.
Dr. Shaw,
Uh-huh.
we know that mental health facilities or therapists or different things like that or programs is somewhat a very lucrative business.
Right.
What are some of the things that we can that a person can look for in vetting to make sure that they get a reputable or send their children to treat themselves? What are some things you can look for?
It's the same thing with any other kind of service that you might be needing. The best is word of mouth. Find someone who's been served, because she hit it on the head. And working in several mental health agencies, I hate to say it, but it's the truth, and we just need to start telling the truth. A lot of them are not about anything but money. Bodies and money and your Medicaid card, because that's mostly how they get paid. However, if you know of someone who's received mental health services and they have a great reputation, and the place where they got it from, great reputation, and they make a referral, then I would advise you to maybe start at that place. Now, the agency itself may not have a great reputation, but there may be a person that works in that agency. So if you can get the name of a person who, regardless of where they're working, the agency, but they have a great reputation, I would say start there, because word of mouth, people will pass on the names of individuals who really make a difference or have made a difference in their lives.
Other questions, comments?
And you were talking about the intergenerational challenges, which is the time when probably the entire family needs to be in therapy. Why do you suppose that is so? And I heard you say people don't really. It ain't exciting to tell somebody my family got a problem. What are some things that can be, and how do you go about saying some things to people to get them to the point that y'all need help or we need help? Because I ain't trying to lead. I think all of us might need help sometime.
Okay, that's a good question. There are several types of therapeutic approaches that can be used. One approach is called CBT, or cognitive behavior therapy. With cognitive behavior therapy, the main premise of that is that if you want to change a person's behavior, that you have to, first of all, find out what they're feeling. That's what Lieutenant was talking about. When those guys at the end write their feelings, find out what they're feeling, find out what they're thinking, target that. If you can modify that, then the behavior is going to fall in line. With CBT, one of the things that is a requirement is that you don't just go in trying to tell folks, yeah, you messed up. You have to give them evidence. Let them find the evidence. And you have to be skilled enough so that the evidence is plain before them, and it's like the light bulb will go off with them without you pointing it out. Because when they see it, they take ownership for it. But if you say it and try to convince them of it, then they will say, oh, see, well, that's what you just believe. You just think our family bad, da, 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 da. But if the evidence is there and it's so skillfully done, they have no other choice but, well, they might, because I found some that were still denied. But after a certain point, if you're skilled enough, they'll come around and say, yeah, I see it. I see it now. So that's why it's important to get the right therapist because y'all, this is serious. You're talking about mental illness. You're talking about a person's life. And so it's very important that we get the right kind of help, the right individuals to help. That person needs to be skilled so that they will know how to navigate through your situation and help you in that process. Okay?
Thank you so much, Dr. Shaw. Next, we have Reverend Richard Joyner from Pastor Canita Missionary Baptist Church, councilman of City of Rocky Mount, founder of Canita Family Life Center. And
Thank
while
you,
you're
Mayor.
coming, is there any statistics out there to tell us what percent of the incarcerated suffer from mental illness? Or Lieutenant Cole, either Lieutenant Cofield or you, is there any statistic that tells us the percentage of the incarcerated who suffer from mental illness? No. Okay.
Only thing I can say is that they come to jail every day. For one thing or another, like I said, they're just dumped out on the streets and left to the point where we have to deal with it because nobody wants to take the time out with it. But we do have psychiatrists that come to our jails to actually talk to them, and we try to get them some help while they're in our facility, and hopefully, and that carries on to when they leave. So yeah, the number is up there. I can't give you the number.
Okay.
We get them every day.
Okay. Reverend Joyner, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Council, City Manager. Thank you, City of Princeville, and thank you, presenters. I'm bringing greetings from our fair city, Rocky Mount, and Canita, where I have the privilege to serve with some great people. I'm going to talk about some community grassroots strategy process that we try to apply as a city council in Rocky Mount. Also, we use the same principles and process as we do things in Canita, because the basis of it is all of us are working with the same thing, right? What is challenging you is challenging us. All of us are being challenged alike. And so one of the basic process that we work with in our area in Rocky Mount, community-based strategy is how do we make sure that what we are doing is community-led and not institutional-led. And you hear me talk about it a lot. Community-led, institutional supported. So we at the city try to make sure that we are literally empowering and following the lead of our community and our citizens. And so, and we are making sure that we are building policies and procedures around how do we really, because there are people in our community that are not here tonight, right? And so the only way they can hear this is that we gonna have to, those of us here got to take it back to them and build a grassroots strategy, because they're the one that gonna make it safe. Some of the things we do is that we have community organizations, and we work with those community organizations. Brother Hinton, faith-based, Brenda, pastors, good to see you here. We work with our faith-based process, right? And we try to make sure that we're collaborating with our community 501c3s, our community groups, our faith-based, and our businesses in our community. And so we have our city council meeting, we have these meetings, but we have strategy meetings at a community level. So every month we are meeting with at least 14 to 20 community groups that we want all of us to be on the same page, right? And so these services that we're talking about, how do we get them managed by the community? And how do we at the city council look at how do we find resources to try to help move these processes. One of the things that we have worked real hard on in the city of Rocky Mount is that we've looked at that our communities don't own themselves. We have a high rate of rental property. We have a high rate of predators that have made a living off from these communities and they don't stay in the community, right? And so we're looking at one of the process we looked at is community wealth building. Is some communities been in existence a long time, but how many know you need some wealth to do some things, right? So we want to see how can we build collective wealth in our communities. And so one of the things we did was collaborate our communities to begin to see how our communities begin to lead home ownership in a collaborative wealth building process. And so we're rolling that program out. A lot of different programs, a warm program with faith bases. Our faith-based community is working on how we make sure that our citizens stay warm during the winter and cool during the summer. How many of that's important? We're working on how we make sure that our youth is being taken care of on a street-based process. What does it really need to make sure that we're taking care of our youth? And so when we go to these community-based organizations, we're not trying to go and tell them what they need to do. Matter of fact, we are working for them. So we're asking them how can everybody want to live in a safe community, right? You know, if I want to go jogging at 3 o'clock in the morning, I want to go do it. And I don't want to be chased. It's a different than jogging and chasing. and so the best process we've been doing and working with our young people, 5-year-old students is smart. Never underestimate the genius of young people. They can literally tell you. And so a process, Kenny Muhammad here, that he's in the Clark Brent Street area. They have 2 homes that they're working on, that they're going to turn these homes into homeowners in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years. Their goal is to turn their whole community into home ownership, right? That empower the community. Now you got community people out cleaning the yard. It's their home. The city is supporting them on it. Our police department is supporting them on it. And so our faith base is supporting them on our churches. And so we believe in community based strategies, and we believe in institution support. A lot of times institutions come in and try to tell the community what they need to do. Not come in and say, how can I help you do what you want to do? And so we're pushing a strong process of how do we do that. And we're trying to stop gentrification. How many people looking at us? Right? People look at how do we make more money off poor people.
Wow.
But we're not poor. We just been disadvantaged a little bit, but we're not poor.
Okay.
All right?
You're right.
Okay. And we agree that we're going to stop fighting each other.
Wow.
Right? We're going to put our differences aside, and we're going to help each other, because while we're fighting each other, guess what? The predator come in and take advantage of both of us. And so it's very simple. So our city council meetings are not held on Monday night. They're held in the community. We just express it on Monday night. And so we really want our community to know that what they think, what they say, and who they are is valuable, and that we hear them, right? And so our policy there is community-based strategy, community-owned, community-led, institutional support. And so and there's a lot more programs that we run. We've seen the reduction in our crime, and we've seen more collaboration on a grassroots level, right? And so we're working with each other. If they want a community garden, because guess what? Kendra, we make sure they have it, right? If they want that home cleaned up, because guess what? We make sure that they have it. If they want trucks not parked in their community, because guess what? We make sure they have it. And so we are here to serve them, support them, and not blame them. So that's a community-based strategy.
Questions, comments, concerns?
So, Reverend Joyner, is it safe to say that if community are the ones to try to change the behavior and the dynamics, partnering with community partnering with the elected officials and
Yes.
powers that be, we won't have to rely so much on the police to do anything but to maintain.
Yes, it's maintenance. You know, it's not that we got any institution. No institution have to manage the community if they support the community, right? And so it's community owned, community managed, institutional supported. And so, and our police department, our chief of police, Chief Hansel, our sheriff, they work together and strategizing and coming to the meetings and literally listening to our citizens. The flip side of it is we sitting out here and the citizens sitting up there telling us what they want. We go and try to make it happen. And you don't have to make a whole lot happen. If you just make one thing happen, they happy. Right? I mean, you just make one thing happen that they want to make happen. I mean, we turned one home that was dilapidated and had been messed up for a long time. That one home, you know, we thought the community was broke, didn't have no money. They raised more money than they did the second home. Because people said, I'll invest in you if you show me you can do something with my money. So there's more community resources out there than institutional money. We just we really gotta empower these communities. I mean, at the end of the day, they gotta empower.
Quick question. Could you elaborate a little bit on how the local school system has an impact on our crime rate?
Sure. Oh man, wonderful. Thank you. It's critical. I mean, our kids, like, we do these community gardens and public housing. And it gives kids jobs, right? We start at 5-year-old with the kids in these farms, these community. They come, they learn seed identification, they learn how to use food for medicine, they learn the power of pre-planting. Take 90 days to plant a seed to get a harvest. Put it on your plate, put it in the market, reinvest, and watch the dividends. It's a powerful tool. And all of us in here had somebody in our family grew up farming. The only thing with us, we didn't have access to the money, right? You know what I mean? The sharecrop, right?
Yep.
You share on the crop, but not in the income. Now we get a chance to share the income because they own it. So it's a powerful piece. And it's a psychological piece. It's been put in our mind that I'm not going back to no farm. I'm not going back to there. That robbed me. That stole from me. That bitterness, a wall. There's a lot of walls that have been put up that is keeping us from you. We are not each other enemies. We are each other friends. We need each other, right? If I take Kendra out, what am I going to do when I need him? Right? If I take the city council, I need the city council. The community need the city council, and the city council need the community. We can't take each other out. We got to collaborate.
I have a question. When do you guys have your meetings and time-wise and where? I may like to attend one or two.
Sure. Um, uh, I meet whenever Ken and Muhammad tell me. But really, when they call meetings in their communities, we meet with them. I can get you a list of them.
Okay.
There are some regular meetings that we have. We take our human resource personnel. We take uh, our people from different departments come out, and our chief of police come out, and we sit with the community. We do this thing called community walkthroughs, where all of our departments that our city manager deem necessary, we go out in the community and we walk door to door to door to door. And we said to the city workers, if there's an area in the community that you don't want to stay in and you feel that you can't stay in, if you're not working to change that area of the community, you need to give up the job, because your paycheck is coming from those people that stay in those areas. And we value every citizen in Rocky Mount, whether they're living on the streets or wherever they are. If you're in that city around, we value you and we listen to you. And so we're here to serve you. You're not here to serve us. And that mentality and our faith base, get my money. Man, this thing take your money. So again, make you take your own money out of your pocket. I need to get that in church. but it's seriously, that's what we're doing. We're here to listen,
Okay.
to work together.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you.
And I do have to go back to Rocky Mount because I got a farm meeting going on this evening, kids.
All right.
Thank you so much. And anything that we can do, I speak for our council, our city, Councilman Jerome. Anytime you want to come to those meetings, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brother Muhammad.
I saved some of my time.
First of all, I want to thank the Honorable Mayor, the council members, but most importantly, the citizens that had came out today. I'm very emotional right now because even though I don't reside here anymore, I'm home. I'm emotional for two reasons. One is the concern of what's going on here, and the other is me not being here. Most of you know me in here. You know my passion, love, and desire for people in general, primarily black people, and primary people from my home. On the board, it says he's to build a strong child that repair a broken man. I hope to share with you today something, some ideas, some solutions that can help us. I emphasize us because this is my home. Because that bridge is not a divider. If that bridge wasn't there, then there would be a divider. But the bridge is there. Half, majority, a lot of my family is from this area. So I'm speaking to not only Princeville, but I'm speaking to all of Edgecombe County. I'm glad to see the mayor of Tarboro here, Tate. I think the mayor of Pine Top is here. Is any other mayor here? Any other council member from any other municipality here? Pro Tem of Pine Top, thank you for y'all for coming. Thank you for coming. I at the next meeting, or the private meetings, or the rolling meeting, let's get the law enforcement from all of Edgecombe County, a representative or something. Okay, let's get this going. Because I just shook off what I had a little bit. Because I had texted my wife and I told her I wish she was here, and she just texted me back and said, remain calm, watch your voice pitch. Because those of y'all know me, I can get a little boisterous. But last thing she said was apply the pressure. So I'm just gonna share with y'all some. I want to be solution driven, focus driven. Now, before I even say that, look, I answer a call that your illustrious mayor went to social media on. From that, God put in place for me to be coming to North Carolina at this moment. He did not reach out to me. I reached out to him. I hit him in his DM and said, can I do anything? I will be glad to speak with you to give you some suggestions. Then God did what he did. He said, nah, man, you're going to North Carolina because you got to handle some personal business. But you're going to go and handle some family business too. Because we're all family here. Okay? So, let's get to it real quick. The most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan state this quote here. Violence grows out of hopelessness and despair.
Mm.
And we are in that moment of hopelessness and despair. And our results that we are getting is becoming violent. Now, everybody gonna do their part. Lieutenant Cofield, I grew up with him. He's doing his part. He has seen the violence firsthand. He has seen things that he can't even erase out of his mind. Law enforcement is going to do their part. But what's bigger than law enforcement is the community. We all know that saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Y'all, we are at a state where there is no village. We're at a point where we have to reestablish or rebuild the village. Until we can rebuild and reestablish the village, we can't do anything for the child. That's what we have to do. So part of my solutions that I'm going to share with you today, but before I share the solutions, I'm going to share with y'all some of the things. Because some may say, why he here? He don't live here. My mama is the love of my life. My mama still living. I'm going to be in Edgecombe County forever. Because that's right there. So I'm here because of her and because of you all and our children. Okay? Now, I want y'all to walk with me. I'm going to share some things, but y'all want you to walk with me. Flag Football League. East Harbor, Princeville, Long Pine Lakeside. GED class. Welding class. Summer camp. After school suspension. No, in school suspension and after school program. Mentoring program. Y'all, I want to share with you that it do not take a lot of money. We get caught up at looking at the financial means of things and the notoriety of who is going to take the credit.
Mhm.
That's what we get lost in. And we lose the moment in time to capture that child. And I say that because I seen it. I walked it. Me and less than 2 or 3 people. All the things that I shared with you just a second ago. Me and 1, 2, 3, no more than 4 people. We started the largest Cub Scout in Edgecombe County in the history of Edgecombe. They told us we had the largest Cub Scout in the Boy Scout of America for North Carolina. I didn't go looking for money. I did it right out of my home church of St. Paul under the leadership at the time of Reverend Albert Heath. We started with the help of my cohort back here, Donald Parker, DP, a trade and GED class. Only thing we did was went to the community college, talked with the vice president, and he said, okay, you get me 10, 50, I mean, 10 people to sign up for it. We went to his office that day. That evening, Don hit the street of East Harburg and signed up over almost 30 people. Because he went to them. He went to them. We can't stay in this square. He went to them. We went, they said we can't do it unless you give us at least 10 people. Michael Jordan was the vice president at the time. Oh, we said there ain't gonna be no problem. Then we went to Reverend Terry to get the Oakland house. To get the Oakland house. He said, okay, no problem. Then we said we had to find an instructor. The car said, you find an instructor, we will pay the instructor. That's we went and got our third cohort. The Honorable Tyrone Knight. Y'all, that didn't cost us a dime. The Cub Scout didn't cost us but a few dollars. But even with the Cub Scout, we had about 60 young boys, Cub Scouts, not Boy Scouts. We called them early. I went, and when I say Edgecombe County, take a look at this, because this is stuff that y'all don't understand. Or either you don't want to understand, or you can't understand. We went to Linda Knight because the enrollment was so high. This was Edgecombe County. Twice a week. Linda Knight let us use her van. 2 of her vans. Twice a week. We picked up little boys. Cub Scouts now. We talking little. Kanita, Mildred, Pine Top, Leggett, Lawrence, Tarboro, Southern Terrace, Long Pine Lakeside. I drove one van and went that way. My blood brother, he drove another van and went that way. Twice a week. Twice a week. We did that. Again, the community came together, those who wanted to help. Linda didn't tell us we had to put gas in the van. And we use it not only for that, we use it for a lot of other stuff for little Cub Scouts. And then take up for the few dollars to give them snacks. Because Cub Scout had his own little agenda that you can go by. Just that simple.
Okay.
Now the other thing was, let's get to the GED part. Let's get to that in the trade part. We got a big college over there, still sitting over there. I think it's still over there. You got organizations in here, you got the resources in here, you got the individuals, and you got groups. I have always been taught to do the work, and the money will come. That's what PowerPoint teaches us. Do the work, and the money will come. I did the work. I wasn't looking for the money, but whatever money was needed, we got the money. We got the money. Now, the Factory Road Project, out of my godfather, Reverend Jonah Church. We had the largest summer camp group. We had the largest summer camp group in all of Edgecombe County. We ran it 5 days a week, not 3 days or 4 days. 5 days a week. Darwin was the program director. We ended up rolling it until when the school started, we ended up rolling it into the after school program. Big Reverend Jordan came to me and said, look, man, they having suspension problems. See, I don't know any organization since the one that we did with out of school suspension. I don't know anybody that's touching out of school suspension anymore. Why? I leave that on the community. I had to sit down and talk with Reverend Jordan's deacon board because I'm a Muslim. He wanted me, but I had to go through that just to try to save lives. But I went through it because I saw the bigger picture. I saw the bigger picture. So we rolled into the out of school suspension program. Y'all, this was 5 days a week. Edgecombe County school system gave us their children that was in school, out of school suspension. We did. And they went down to Canita Chapel. We used their van to pick them up in the morning just like they was going to school. And the parents or the teacher or we got the child's work. And they came down and they did the work at the church. But the key part was this: we didn't have to get a high degree instructor. We interviewed a sister that had been a teacher's assistant. And we gave her a small stipend. And she did that the whole school year. Y'all, this don't take a lot of work. If you keep looking at money and think that money is going to solve the problem, it helps. Don't get me wrong. But money ain't going to solve the problem. Your blood, your sweat, and your tears is what's going to solve the problem. That's what's going to solve the problem. Now, speed it up. Princeville got this lovely building. They got a lovely building over there. We got several nice churches in the community. If you got an organization, I want to start one, ask them for space to hold meetings for whatever you are trying to accomplish. Whatever you're trying to accomplish. Now, I done sat on this dais before. I done been a politician, so I know how this operates. I know how funding operates. I've been on the dais like this. I know things are regulated. Some things can't be done and some can. I ain't waste my time. I worked, we worked, and we got the funds. It may not have been from a local municipality. It may have been from a friend or either people pulling their resources. Let me hit that point. Resources. Everybody want to know where the money is. You got an organization, or either you don't. Let's say 5 friends get together and say we want to start an organization or we want to do something continuously. 5 friends commit to $10 a month. $10 a month. How much is that? 5 times 10. What is that? $50? Yeah. But just imagine 5 friends commit to $100 a month. How much is that? $500. But say 10 friends commit to $100 a month. 10 friends commit to it. Now they ain't got to be active in what you're doing. Just find you 10 friends that can commit $100. We got Netflix that's $12, $15. You go to Starbucks or either out. You do all the other things. You buy the latest fashion, but $100 a month. Find you 10 friends. You got $1,000 to do what you want to do for your people. And as you continue to do what you do, you're going to grow your organization. Then other entities going to see your track record and they're going to give you what you asked for, either almost what you asked for.
Got about 2 minutes.
We have it. This stuff right here. A meet like this, ain't nothing wrong with somebody facilitating mental health meetings every month or every week. There's nothing wrong with facilitating financial literacy meetings every month. There's nothing wrong with having GED class here either across the street or either at somebody's church. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What is that costing us? Now, I'm going to put some people on the spot now. Tate, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad these here. But the ones that are not here, the same stuff, y'all. Because wherever the crime is coming from, what? Some of the killers in Princeville, but the killers may have been from another, not from Princeville. And you're telling me that they aren't here concerned? Because that same person, maybe, if they don't get caught, they may go ahead and do something in their own backyard. That's why they should be here. I am proud of what Princeville is doing right now. The movement they got going on, the development they got going on, the economic development that they got going on. Pull your resources and get involved in the economic development of Princeville. Pull your resources. There's some properties, some lots, probably some houses that maybe 5 or 10 of y'all can get together and put some money together and probably can get that spot. Even ain't nothing but a lot. You can still use that lot for some of your events and things you want to do. One of them reminded me again with Brother Naeem. Amen. We formed that after the Million Man March. They ain't calling the money. We did events all around Edgecombe County. Carrying and sharing and giving money to families from people who had lost people and all that type of stuff. But y'all, I'm here because I have walked the walk. So I can talk the talk. There's a lot of stories I can tell you. But I'm here to offer solutions for the town of Princeville and all of Edgecombe County. Because what I said at the beginning, my mom lived over there in East Tarboro. Now, y'all heard that, right? I said East Tarboro. It's 2 Tarboros. It's East Tarboro, then there's Tarboro. Okay? And we okay with that. We okay with that. But we want our fair share.
Okay, Brother
So,
Muhammad,
okay, go ahead.
go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah.
We got to let some other people have the floor.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, though.
Questions? Quick question.
Yeah.
So, really concerned about the sustainment of programming. A lot of programming have been somewhat developed over the years. As I've been growing up, I've been hearing about a lot of programming, but where's the sustainment in these programs? Like as a youth and a young organization, we're heavily focused on sustaining our programming. So 20, 30 years from now, our kids are not going through the same things that continuously. So how can we sustain our programming? And how can we get support to really sustain our programs?
how you sustain your program is going to the community. Those same business owners that you spend your money with, those same churches and religious organizations that you give your tithes and offerings to, your local municipality, yes. But the easiest way for you to get some money, because we saying sustainability, but I think I know that you were saying funding.
It's much more than funding.
Okay, let's deal with the funding part. Basically, you do the work, go to those individuals, those organizations, those business owners, and seek funding for them. Tell them what you're trying to achieve. That's all. And one of the things I used to do, if somebody give me $20 because I can told them I'm trying to do this here, they gonna see me again next week. But somebody give me $100 for something, they may not see me for maybe a month or so. Okay. Now,
Okay, let's see him after this meeting. We want
yes,
to get
yeah,
everybody in seeing.
yeah. Anybody who wants to speak with me, anybody who want to speak with me, I'm glad to see Pastor Big Show hand out there. I'm glad to see that he came because he's ready to East Harbor. Okay,
Okay.
but a lot of these pastors, y'all, call on them, call on them.
Okay. The first person we have is Brother Naeem Akwa. Yes.
Do you still want, can they use this
Yeah.
program?
Either one is fine.
Okay, all right.
Either one is fine. Say what? Okay. Max of 5 minutes, everyone. Max of 5 minutes. I will.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It is definitely a pleasure to be speaking to my people, and I've come here tonight to make a commitment to righting some of the wrongs that are in our community. I am affiliated with a program, the World Opportunity Institute, and we work to heal people of their trauma and stress, and not only for the kids or for the families, but we can give you tools and trainings that will help you deal with things in yourself first, in yourself, then in your home, then in the community, and on your job. So every aspect of your life we're able to assist you in. We can give these trainings because the community needs this training. In listening to Dr. Shaw, the things that she was saying, what came to my mind was adverse childhood experiences. Those things that happened to us when we were young and happening to our children now that are young, that were never resolved. It comes back years later and affect us. And that's why we see some of this wild, crazy behavior that we have no explanation for. It's those things kick in. Now we talk about adverse childhood experiences. Those are the things that are the leaves of a tree. But we have to get down to the roots, to adverse community experiences. Those things in our community that affect the community and brings negative things to our community. So I make a commitment to help you get trained. And when you get trained, then you can go and give it to others in your community. And you know what this is going to cost you? Nothing. It will cost you nothing. I'm making that commitment, and we can make that happen. Anyone that's interested, and it can be individuals, organizations, anybody that's interested can see me after the meeting, and I will give you the information on how you can make this come about. So that's it. I think I might have a little credibility in the community because I've been here for years and years and years. Me and Brother Muhammad, Don Parker, we worked these streets and we did things that to other people seemed impossible, but we knew that we could do them. So I make that commitment to you. See me, and we're gonna get a hold on this violence, on this trauma, and this stress that's destroying our community.
Amen.
We can't let that happen. We had too great of an investment in our community to let it die.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Geraldine Colley. I didn't think you had anything to say. Marquetta Dickens.
Thank you, Mr. Arbor, for coming and accepting the invitation just like that. So it speaks to your commitment over time to our community, and we appreciate you. And to the men that are here, I'm looking forward to talking with you and working with you as well. So really want to have any conversation and the things that you all are looking to do over there. But I'm here today to talk to my community. My family's been in this community for over 100 years. I'm excited. Muhammad, I feel your pain. That was me a couple years ago. But I believe that my life is divinely ordered, and God brought me back here. And so I'm back here for a reason. I'm back here with a purpose, and I'm going to live out my mission. I'm going to live out my purpose that I'm divinely ordered and called to do. And so, for the sake of time, I'll get right into it. I think that this is a complex issue. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that this is a complex issue that would take time and an intentional and strategic collaboration to influence long-lasting change. I like to make a point. I like to point out a lot of things that I say is going to be very similar to what you've already heard, but I'll say it anyway, just to drive the point home. It's an alert in Asheboro, North Carolina, a child abduction alert.
Just turn it off, please. Let's all just hit okay.
All right. I like to make a point that out of the recent shootings, although the recent shootings are very tragic and painful to see, however, it's not a majority of our youth. As we support prison reform initiatives and programming within our prison system, while supporting the families of the bereaved, the bereaved families as well from suffering and overcoming their suffering and pain, we must remember that this problem is systemic and not forget about the youth coming behind them. Some of them are the siblings, the nieces and nephews of the children of those in prison, and of the 100 deceased black men in Edgecombe County thus far this year. This is a whole generation of youth we know will be affected in one way or another. We must align and come together no matter our personal beliefs, religious beliefs, political beliefs, age, gender, etc., as a people to break this cycle. Listening and talking is not enough. We must act and be positioned to continue to act for generations to come. We didn't get to this place overnight, and we will not get out of it overnight. Myself and Freedom Organization will be active in this community and this county for generations to come, and we hope to collaborate with others to see this work done in our communities. I see this issue being addressed in 3 different perspectives from where I stand, and so the municipality is one, and the municipality is tasked with carrying out the goals and vision of the people and what's best for the people. The grassroots community organization, that perspective for me is organizing where essentially we can fill the gaps where government can't or not designed to fill in those gaps. And then personally, right? Me personally, from my scope, being a mental health practitioner, activist, and a proud Princeville native, these people are my family, be it by blood or relation. So this is why I'm here today, to talk to the municipality about some of the things that I suggest, being from here, talking to family, etc. And some of my family members can't be here today. It's Jiho, so we know we know how that goes. But for the municipality, some of the things that I'm hearing from my community is things like establishing a police department.
right? We can use ARPA funding that we have to establish this. As a part of the administration crime reduction agenda, President Joe Biden has voiced support for governments to strengthen their public safety efforts with the help of ARPA funding. In just 1 year, $10 billion in ARPA funding has already been allocated to support public safety agendas by more than half of states and more than 300 communities across the country. In order to support and sustain a police department, we know we have to have funding. So a way to do that is to really focus on increasing our tax base, and so that we can provide services such as a police department for our citizens and support programming to build community relationships through our police department, or supporting the Escombe County Sheriff's Department, and building community relationships. A way to increase tax bases that we already have in place right now is we already have ARPA funding allocated for repairing homes. And so we should really focus on the homes that are in the Princeville city limits, especially those families trying to get back from Matthew, because we know the property values of those homes are going to be the least at this point in time. If people are not applying, we can find ways to increase the application rate within the city limit, and I'll be more than willing to talk to my Commissioner, Ms. Linda Joyner, about some ways that we can work together and that we can do that, right? Some of the things are, which I've already emailed you about, is some of the restrictions that we have on our current application process, and really strategizing and coming together and figuring out how, as a community, we can build, right? And so, as we're doing that, though, for me, it's already been talked about. We know statistically and factually that a recession is coming. Like, we know that. And we're proud of the development and development plans that we have in place. But I've been saying for like the last 6, 7 years that we should already be thinking proactively of how do we protect the citizens that are already here doing this development. So if property taxes are going to increase, we got to be able to support our community members who have put in their blood, sacrifice, and tears over the years through PTSD of flooding. That is something that we don't talk about a lot. A lot of people are scared to come back because of that trauma, and things like that. So also within, while we're talking about mental health, I'm a younger practitioner. And so I'm seeing some of the current issues, right? And one of the biggest things that I see in my community is the stigmatization of mental wellness and mental illness. And so until we can get to a place where we can educate and we can destigmatize mental health, and not really pour all of our because the 2.9%, that's a very small number. But that aren't, and just because they're not a part of that 2.9% of a serious illness, a lot of these other illnesses are, especially when their frontal lobes aren't developed, any little thing can set a kid off, right? And as Reverend Jordan said, we're not here to blame. We're here to support. We're here to stand in the gap. We're here to intercede and work together. Another way that I find that you all can.
That's it. 5 minutes up, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get some of my time back from the interruption?
I did. I gave you an extra minute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Ransom.
How's everybody doing?
Fine, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Okay, so I know a lot of my points have already pretty much been hitting on. But first I want to introduce myself. I'm Kendrick Ransom, farmer at Golden Organic Farm. I'm also the agriculture director and co-founder of Freedom Organization. I have other hats as well, but I'm pretty much here starting from on these two. So real briefly, as we're constantly reminded about COVID, and the pandemic and things like that, I now see that this has somewhat been a way to continuously distract us from an even bigger picture in our communities, which is the war on our black men. We are lacking in resources as well as having genuine guidance throughout all aspects of our lives. We need new innovative spaces for our programming. We need leaders who are direct with the vision of our community. We need cleaner food. Freedom Organization and Golden Organic Farm has constantly showed up for our community, town officials, and will continue to do so. As organizations, as a farm, we ask for more support on multiple levels so we can be there for our community, so we can bridge these gaps that people are constantly attacking. We talking about parenting, like, come on, man, like, really, are we really putting so much blame on parenting, knowing that the parents don't even have the resources that they need? So, from a it's just really frustrating, yo. It's just really frustrating because I come to all these meetings and deal with just same context and nobody's really doing anything. It's always about ego of what somebody's done 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. But we see our community and our youth is still literally dying. And all we can talk about is what we did 50 years ago, but we see that that impact has not done what it was supposed to do. So instead of reinventing the wheels, why don't we really just have more intimacy in the relationship building process? These kids don't trust the officials. These kids don't trust sheriff department. These kids don't trust a lot of these organizations, especially mentoring programming. Like a lot of parents come to me wanting me to mentor their kids. I'm not a mentor. A lot of these fathers and dads are not mentors. We're leaders in a certain extent, and we're here to lead. We're not here to mentor anybody because of the contradictions that come with that. The contradictions that come with just existing as a being. So we're constantly trying to point fingers, but do we not see how many fingers is pointing back at us? So why are we not doing what we can do to a higher extent to really bridge these gaps? Because it's more so of communication than it is anything. So nobody's really taking the time to really sit these kids down and have a conversation with them. They're telling them what's wrong. They're putting all these medications on them, putting them in prisons and in more walls. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to be free. They need to be on farm. They need to be in gardens where it's actually healing properties that's naturally designed to help rebuild them. Far as growing fresh produce. We talk a lot about food. Like we have to cleanse our pineal glands. There's so many spiritual aspects that's connected to our community that we're leaving out. So that's why our communities are not as whole as they used to be because we are using government funding, and that's just they just use that dangling over our head, keep encouraging us to create more 501c3s. But how much more competition is that putting in our communities? We're already struggling for funding, but why are we still going against each other? You know what I'm saying? And the municipalities on another hand is like we reaching out to y'all for help and guidance, and y'all just it's just real frustrating, And I speak for the youth because I'm 29 years old, So when we really striving to be something in our lives, and we just have so many gaps of communications of where we can go and resources. What resource center is there besides like community college just heavily governmented? You know what I'm saying? Like we need grassroots organizations with power where they are the ones that's bridging the gaps in our community. Like we don't need government officials coming in our community telling us we need government officials having relationships with our community leaders. And our community leaders are bridging the gaps because those are the ones that's more in our community with foots on the ground and actually trying to do something. So sorry to say a lot, but I'm just very concerned about, really the slander around our youth. These kids, a lot of them wouldn't be in the positions that they are in if they had other choices. So imply to them and give them the choices, give them the opportunities to make better decisions. They don't even have a lot of opportunities. We got to go all the way to Raleigh for a decent meal, a actual wholesome meal. We got to go to Raleigh. We got to go to Greenville. Like, come on, man. Especially people that's looking for healthier options. So we just have to be better, and we have to meet our kids where they are. We have a summer camp where we bring our kids to the farm and we talk to them and we, teach them how to cook, how to stretch, how to breathe, have yogas come out and things like that. But we know our kids in our area want to be, professional athletes and things like that. But statistics show that not all of them are going to be professional. So what are we designing for them to fall back on? So we are implying agriculture curriculum to help boost that gap. It's under 2% black farmers in America, but we want to push our kids to do all this other stuff. Like, let's push them to grow some food, cook some food, prepare food, or just to teach about food, so much going on, but we're going to take our time and, we just going to keep doing it. We just ask that everyone be open to new innovative ideas because our kids are our future. We're still listening to politicians that's been in place for 10, 20 years. But why are our kids still in the same position? So we need new, innovative leaders, and they need genuine support. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Let's wait to the end because those 5 minutes are up. Okay, Miss Irie, I mean Olivia Joyner. No? Okay. Irie, yes. Iris Robinson. Nothing. Okay. Ryan Jones. No. Okay. Greg Higgs.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm glad y'all brought this meeting together. Now, it took a long time for this meeting to happen. We've been having battles in Princeville for longer than 30 days. A couple years ago, we tried to get a meeting, start a meeting, but one by list. It took 2 killings to have a meeting like this. So I'm glad y'all got started. My first thing I want to talk to the people that's a couple people that spoke tonight. Miss Joe Gomes and Joe Cofield. He can tell you, I love the kids. I love working with the kids. I try to use the impact that I went through living in an apartment 48 Asbury Park, 313 Russell Drive, when I was dealing with law enforcement, when I was dealing with getting in trouble, when I was dealing with getting something on job court, given a choice, either go to jail or go to job court. You know, that's why I try to tell the kids today, don't do what I did growing up at the age of 12, 13 years old. They had to make you go to school and get your education. Miss Shaw, the Tar Heel Academy program, I was a mentor down there. I loved it. I sent a lot of kids to that program. It was a long ride to go see the kids, but I enjoy working with the kids at the Tar Heel Academy. It's a good program, a very good program. So we need to start with something over here in Princeville that with the young people. Right now, there's 16 on up. We got to fight to pull them back in. But the ones below 16, I think we can work with them. And we got to get some programs started. We ain't gonna sit here and say, "Oh yeah, we have a meeting. This make the third meeting." So come Monday morning, um, somebody needs to be on the phone making phone calls. Somebody needs to be looking for grant money to get these programs started. Bobby, you helped me out a lot when I was dealing with the kids. When we took the kids out of town, you donated. I appreciate that and everything. But if we need to get our own law enforcement in Princeville, we shouldn't have to pay Edgecombe County to protect them when they get ready. What Reverend on there? He gone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to know, do Rocky Mount pay the sheriff department to protect them? Well, I be seeing a lot of our deputy cars in the city limit of Rocky Mount. But we got to pay them to come over here and protect us and pick what time they gonna do it. Folks over here pay taxes in Princeville, taxes across the bridge. So Edgecombe County Sheriff Department getting 2 checks from the citizens of Princeville to protect them. It's not fair. That's why I live on East Hall. But my heart is in Princeville. Gonna be beat up for life. My mayor right there, Tate Mayo, anytime I call that man, if somebody got a problem, he show up. He show up. I don't care what neighborhood they're in. He don't mind talking to him. Sometimes we be on the phone 2 or 3 hours. Now he got a girlfriend. He here when he got the phone with him. But you know what I'm saying? You live in there, and so we got to start now. 3 meetings. We shouldn't wait for a 4th meeting to say, "Hey, we got this done." After 3 meetings, y'all should have something in order to start working on. Get these young people You know, I'm a phone call away. Bob, you got my number. Al, you got my number. Roman, you got my number. I love working with the kids. Give it to the principal school. If you need to put them kids in a program across town, you know, we pay for it. If they ain't got the money, you know, my brother, 2 billion of them come over Princeville and pick the kids up, take them across the bridge. And the park over there, the park back over to the kids now, right? So we can start using that building for mentoring young men. We should be able to do that. What do you think, John? I think it should be no problem. Using that building for the mentor young men. Get started.
Okay, that's it. 5 minutes. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Pastor Hatton. Tony Hatton. He gone? Okay. Carlton Jones? No? Okay. Maisha Harold? Maisha? Okay. Okay, board members, any questions, comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Commissioner Bullock here, Ward 1, born across the street 82 years ago. Left in 1956 to a wonderful career. Found out that Princeville was underwater in 1999, and I remember my father telling me, whatever you do, don't let them take the land. I came back because I knew what I had left, and we needed the help. We needed the help, and we still need the help. I'm not going to put a target on my back tonight or ever. But Princeville has been a very special place for a long, long time. And this isn't the first type of a meeting that we've had. They've had them back when I was a child. But we had a different type of individual that made up the community. We didn't tolerate and didn't have all of this because communication, connectivity was the life-saving thing. Everybody was everybody's son or child or uncle. Or they knew your business. And if you were going to do something that was contrary, you better go in the woods or go get out of town because somebody was going to tell it. Parents ain't what they used to be. And it's costing us future lives, future doctors, future presidents, future teachers because of that. My suggestion, and don't hold it against me, we need to erect that curfew that spills down and includes the parents that the child belongs to. That's where you need to start to stop this stuff. Yes. Parents don't want to go to jail. Children don't need to die. That's where you're going to find your problem because sometimes in the element of these homes, these children are not being loved and taught and nurtured like they should, so they reach out to the streets. I've done some tremendous things in other cities throughout this country, but they don't mean nothing here at home. If I remember, the Christ wasn't even wanted in his home. But I'll never give up on the kids. I'll never give up on them. In my program, we have scholarships. We have eyeglass programs. Do you think anybody in here know anything about that? Mayor Delia Perkins. She and I did some great things down in Atlanta for the raising of the funds to rebuild those homes that were destroyed. Over $1.5 million I stepped back from because I wanted all of my input to be handed to Princeville to help them recover from the flood. I don't do this for some recognition. I don't need that. I've done some things. Gonna do some more things. But we need to get the police department and we need to establish a curfew. If anybody opposes against that after we establish it, you need to pack your stuff up and get out of here. Or act right and abide in according to, what you're supposed to do. I'm passing, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other board members?
Mayor, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of the presenters, Dr. Shaw, Reverend Joyner, Lieutenant Cofield, and Melvin Muhammad, as well as to all those who took the initiative to come up and share your thoughts on with us via comments. We're very appreciative, and particularly to Mr. Akbar. Thank you for making that public commitment to the town of Princeville. I want to share with you with what I shared with the mayor a few nights ago. I shared with him that approximately 5 years ago, my wisdom teeth was coming through my gums, and it was the pain was indescribable. So I would go to the ED, and the ED physician would give me Vicodin. When all the Vicodin was gone, I would go right back to the ED. So after my third visit to the ED, the physician told me, he said, Jones, I'm not giving you any more Vicodin. He said, because what I'm doing is I'm soothing the symptoms, but I'm not dealing with the root cause of the problem. So you need to go see a dentist. A dentist can get to the root cause of what's going on. And I shared with the mayor in this meeting, we don't want to do anything that's just going to take care of the symptoms, but we must get to the root cause of the problem. And in reaching the root cause of the problem, maybe we can stop the recidivism, the returning to the jail, the killing of each other. So what I've been doing the past few days is researching. I've been looking for evidence-based solution, not this impulsive stuff, but evidence-based solution. And we're going to try to figure out how can we tailor this to fit the needs of Princeville. Again, we thank you all for sharing, and we thank all of you for coming.
And I too would like to thank all of you for coming, because it says to me, no matter what you said or no matter what you were sitting there thinking, it says to me that you definitely do have an interest in the health of Princeville. And not only Princeville, Pine Tops, Canida, Tarboro, and the surrounding areas. And we're having this meeting because in every area there is a challenge. And I listened to every presenter here this evening. I listened to every person that came up to share their concerns. There is a plumb line. There is a plumb line, and everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. We're speaking the same language. We may say it different, but every challenge that we are facing, we know what it is. And I echo what you said about finding the root cause. And Dr. Shaw hit on some of the things about the generational things. There are some things that's going to take some deep digging and some hard kicking to fix it. We may not fix those that are directly involved right now, but we need to cut some things off at the core before our young people, those younger ones, run up on it. So when the younger ones or get to the point where some of the, I know the ages are changing. I was intending to ask the sheriff, the lieutenant before he left, when is it that they notice the increase in the gang banging and the increase in the criminal activities in the community? When is it that that was noticed? What's the timeline? So what we need to be doing is listening together. Not one person in here has the answer. The answer. Understand what I'm saying? But I promise you, if we pull together, if we lay the weapons down, if we come together and reason, if we can talk and not point, not fight, not accuse, not criticize, if we can do that, then we are moving in the right direction. We're at least moving in the right direction. Reverend Joyner said some real key things about community, building, capacity. No, the board cannot do it all, and I understand that. We all understand that. But I promise you, if we do it together, there is a place for community to step in, because it's just not our community, it's all of us. I can't be just concerned about 501 Mullen Street. That's where I live. Because if 501 Mullen Street is the only place that's healthy for me, it's really not healthy. I'm just looking at one thing. We have got to come together as a people that historically we've had a hard time doing, guys. Historically, we've been known to point fingers and to blame. Historically, we've not known how to work together because we've been so departmentalized. I have a passion for this. I'm just not sitting here. I was headed back to Greensboro when I was railroaded to come and run for commissioner. I said, well, since I'm here, since I had to change a plan, since I had to change a mindset, since I had complained about some things that I thought was not happening, since I campaigned on God bless a child that has his own, Princeville needs its own police department, and we do. But there are some prerequisites to that. There are some things that has to happen. My parents all the time told me, don't live beyond your means. Don't go out there. I wanted to buy a brand new car when I got my first job. And now my dad was not one that could read. He was not one that could write. We taught our dad how to sign his name because when I first remember, Dad was putting down X's. But Dad told me, said, tell me how much you make a week. I was getting paid weekly, every Friday. Add that up, Linda. You want to go buy a brand new car. Tell me what the payment on a brand new car. I told him what it was. He said, girl, you can't afford the gas in the car. You talking about a new car? We don't want to be so... it is time past for a police department. But when we look at our budget, that's what we have to go on. When we get our citizen base up, that's what we're working on. There is a process to this. I campaign on God bless a child that has his own Princeville need a police department, and we do. I'll say that every day. But there's no need to get one for 1 year, and you can't afford them another year. When we get to the place when we can build our community back bigger, better, and bolder, then, guys, let's look at a police department. We will need it then. But while we have the... Now, yes, Edgecombe County Sheriff's Department we do pay them. If we did not, we would only have one sheriff. One sheriff who will be covering Princeville, Coneta, Speed, Leggett, Pine Top. Well, not Pine Top, because you have your sheriff department, your police department. But you'll have one sheriff who will cover all of those departments. At least we do have sheriffs in the community, and we do have sheriffs in the community who patrol a certain time. That's what we can afford. We ain't trying to skim off the top. We ain't trying to be less than. We're trying to be good stewards over what we have. We're trying to have some protection. Rocky Mount have a whole fleet of police officers. And things happen. They may get there after the fact. These kids are not afraid of living. They're not afraid of dying. That's what we need to work on. These kids could care less about a police officer, a uniform, a gun. They probably got bigger guns than the police got. That's what we got to work on, that mindset. We're not here because we know so much. Yes, we listen. And I declare if we do it together, I believe we'll get some results. If we would stop blaming and stop pointing fingers and stop saying who ain't doing what. If the truth be told, if we base this on what happened last week, ain't none of us doing nothing then.
Amen.
My cry and my plea to you. Can we do it together? Can we come together as hey guys, you know who we are as a people. We are resilient. If we put our resiliency together, I promise you we'll come out with a product that's meat for success. But we got to do it together. We got to learn how to forgive and forget. And that's something that's rather easy for me. I can forget. My sister can tell you, when we were young, there were 10 of us in the household, and my brother used to get to fighting, and we would be fighting, and Mama said, "What you fight about?" No, I can forget just that quick. Guys, we can do this. We can do this. I promise you we can. But there is a process. And I am committed. Marquetta, I am committed. I am committed. I promise you it won't happen overnight, but guess what? It will happen if we stand one. If we stand as one, it will happen. God bless you, and thank you all so much for coming out to say, I'm here.
Yeah, she calls that we went over 7 o'clock now. But let me just say, moving forward, the steps moving forward, we're gonna have another meeting the last Sunday of next month. And I'll get with the board members and see if that's okay for to use this building. But I'm committed as well. If they don't tell me you can't use this building, we're gonna meet someplace next month, the last Sunday in the month at 5 o'clock. Now, I talked a little bit earlier about each municipality coming together as a subcommittee to include 2 parents, 2 students, 1 elected official, 1 mental health professional, 1 law enforcement professional, 1 educator, and 1 clergy. All of them working together to meet at a different time to come up with strategies and solutions and to look for particular grants, especially crime prevention grants, and bring that to the full meeting on next month. Does that sound feasible? Pine House, Tarboro, and I'm going to call the other mayors tomorrow to see if they will work with us. This is the only way we can get it done. This is a cancer that's spreading all over the United States of America and all over the world. Doesn't have to be here. We can make a difference if we work together. Let me close out Mayor Perkins, and then we'll come to you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we adjourn. All the questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry I'm late, but I was in Greensboro weekend.
Jiho.
Mr. Mayor, and you would consider having a meeting with a small group of citizens, in-town citizens that can give you the 411 on a whole lot of things in this town. It would be beneficial to you. I beg to differ about the police. You know how I feel about that. And they are great out there. If